Good evening. Welcome to episode 177. As always, let's start with our gratitude attitude. So, if you would please gently close your eyes. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, relax your body. Take another deep breath. As you exhale, let all your stress melt away. Take one more deep breath. As you exhale, completely relax your body. Now, think of one thing that you're thankful for that happened in the past week. Once you identified that, think about why you're thankful. Now, let's set it free. If you're by yourself, say it out loud what you're thankful for and why. If you're with someone, tell it to each other. Okay, so we're going to continue with our series on understanding our mind. We talked about virtuous minds in the last two sessions. Today, let's talk about delusions. There are 6 root delusions from which all of our delusions arise. And those root delusions are attachment, anger, deluded pride, ignorance, deluded doubt, and deluded view. So let's look at all of them. Desirous attachment is a mental factor that observes a contaminated object, considers as a cause of happiness, and desires it. So it's not the same thing as desire, by the way. It's good to have desire. For example, our desire to attain liberation or develop compassion. Those are good desires to have. A desires attachment on the other side. It remembers an object, finds it attractive, exaggerates its qualities, and desires it. Now, there's also a difference between desires attachment and love, because love is unconditional. It has no strings attached. It's a completely virtuous state of mind. And you could have desired attachment for past object, present objects, future objects, right? Let's say you remember a fond incident with a friend, and out of desires attachment, you long to meet with them. Now, this thing often comes out of nostalgia, right? Example of present object is that we wish for the pleasures we enjoy to last forever. An example of future object is that we wish to meet an attractive partner or wish to acquire wealth or we wish X, we wish Y, right? I get a promotion, whatever, right? So that's future object. To remove desire as attachment, we need to meditate on renunciation and emptiness. Now, these are long term solutions because it doesn't happen overnight. So, until we achieve that, one way to remove our desirous attachment is to contemplate on the faults of an object and then apply an appropriate opponent power. Why is it important to remove desirous attachment? Because it keeps us in samsara. Because of desirous attachment, we keep creating karma, and that in turn keeps us in samsara. So attachment is root of all problems. The next delusion is anger. Anger is a mental factor that observes a contaminated object, considers it undesirable, exaggerates its bad quality, and wishes to harm it. Almost opposite to desire attachment, right? Now, anger has 9 different parts. Anger directed to someone who harmed us in the past, anger directed towards someone who is harming us today or right now, anger directed towards someone who we think will harm us in the future, anger directed to someone who harmed our friends in the past, friends or families, anger directed towards someone who is harming our friends in the presence, anger directed to someone who we may think will harm our friends in the future, anger directed towards someone who helped our enemy in the past, anger directed towards someone who is helping our enemy in the presence, and anger directed towards someone who may help our enemy in the future. Right? Now we can permanently eradicate anger by realization of emptiness. Again, very long-term goal. Until we do that, one way to remove anger from our life is to meditate on love and peace. It will instant. Love is a perfect antidote for anger. The next delusion is deluded pride. It's a mental factor that exaggerates our own good qualities and develops like arrogance. It's inflated view of ourselves, right? It arises as a result of our own qualities such as our knowledge, our wealth, our beauty, our strength, our education, and so forth, right? Now, simply being aware of our qualities is not a deluded pride. Simply being aware that our quality is better than the next guy is not a deluded pride because it may be just recognition of truth. Deluded pride arises when our mind is puffed up with an exaggeration of our own importance because of those qualities. The way to remove deluded pride is to recognize its faults. Right? What does a deluded pride do? First, it causes us to disrespect others. Right? If we have high sense of I, then we don't think of the other person highly, and that causes us to disrespect them. And then it also prevents us from making progress because it does not allow us to accept the fact that we may learn something new. They say that an evil person can be tamed by dharma, but a proud person cannot. So it's a very bad thing. The next delusion is ignorance. We talked about this in the past. It's a mental factor that is confused about the nature of an object and functions to induce wrong awareness or doubt. So, for example, if we are walking and we see a toy snake on the ground and we mistake it for a real snake, now we have obviously ignorance of the nature of the toy snake because it doesn't harm us, right? The fundamental ignorance is the ignorance of the nature of all phenomena. It's the root of all problems in our samsara. We can also have ignorance of karma, ignorance of emptiness. Antidote to ignorance is wisdom. We can develop wisdom by listening to dharma, contemplating on them, and meditating on them. Because if we listen to you know a teaching, then we think about it, right? Next day or just before we go to sleep, and then we meditate on it, then it allows us to develop wisdom. The next delusion is deluded doubt. It's a two-pointed is mind. Essentially, આપણે પેલું કહીએ કાંડ વગરનો લોટો એના જેવો, right? Because it interferes with attainment of liberation and enlightenment. It's a mind of uncertainty that cannot decide between two alternatives. It's certainty about dharma topics that causes our faith to decline. I mean, uncertainty about dharma topics, right? And disturbs our peace of mind. Because if you're not sure, well, I heard that, but I'm not sure karma is real or not, right? Then your faith's going to go down and, in turn, disturb our peace of mind. And it's okay to have doubt, by the way. There's a difference between doubt and deluded doubt. It's actually good to have doubt. It's encouraged to have doubt. Because when we do have doubt, rather than let it linger in our mind, we should work to resolve those by reading books, asking questions to qualified teachers, and discussing with fellow students. So it's perfectly normal to have doubt. There's a difference between doubt and deluded doubt, right? And the last delusion is deluded view. It's a view that functions to obstruct attainment of liberation. So there are two types of view, correct view and incorrect view. And deluded views, by definition, are incorrect views. Those are like, not believing in karma, not believing in circle of life and death, right? Not believing in reincarnation. Those are deluded views, incorrect views. So, hope all of this makes sense and we can work on removing and eliminating delusions from our life. It's because if you think about it, every problem we have in our life comes from our delusion, right? We suffer because of our delusion. If we are free from anger, attachment, hatred, pride, ignorance, doubt, wrong views, right? Life will be perfect. I will be happy all the time. And that's the goal. So, hope all of that makes sense. Today, what I want to do for our meditation is, we're going to be off for 2 weeks for Thanksgiving. So I thought we'll do this black and white meditation. It's Thanksgiving, it's family time and people get stressed out. So this is a perfect meditation. We've done this before, but just to give you a quick, overview, what we will do is, as always, we'll settle down at our hearts, and then we'll imagine that all our stress, all our anxieties, all our worries are gathered at our heart in the form of thick black smoke. And as we breathe in, we'll breathe in light. And as we breathe out, we'll breathe out all of that stress we have accumulated. So it's quite simple. We've done it before. And of course, I'm going to guide you through it. So let's begin. Please get into your meditation posture. Back straight. Spine upright. Shoulders leveled. Gently close your eyes. Keep your mouth just a little bit open. So any stress you may have developed in your jaws will dissipate. Palms in your lap, right over left, thumbs gently touching each other. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, let yourself completely loose like a rag doll. Bring your attention to the sensation of your breath at your nostrils. Feel the cool air as you breathe in. Feel slightly warmer air as you breathe out. Keep your attention at your nostrils for about a minute or so on your own. Bring your attention at your heart. Imagine everything that happened before this moment melts into light and disappears. Things that have not yet happened are not real anyway. So it is just this moment. Enjoy the peaceful nature of your root mind in this moment. Let this peaceful moment bring the next peaceful moment. Remember, there is nothing to do. There is nowhere to go. Just enjoy. Now Imagine all your stress, all your worries, all your anxieties gathered at your heart in the form of thick black smoke. Just imagine. As you breathe in bright white light that touches every cell of your body. And as you breathe out all of that stress, anxieties, worries in the form of thick black smoke. Breathe in light, breathe out stress. Breathe in light, breathe out stress. As you breathe in bright white light that touches every cell of your body. As you breathe out all of your stress, worries, anxieties in the form of thick black smoke. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. Any questions?
No, no questions. I mean, today's